Forget 1 inch thick. How about a 3mm thick patty? There's something mesmerizing, even addictive about watching this. Judging from the 3 million views on YouTube, I'm not the only one who thinks so. It's miniature meal making at its finest. The trend began in Japan years ago, born out of the country's obsession with all things cute, also known as kawaii. In 2014, Miniature Space put it all online. From tiny cookware to the ingredients, the details are exquisite, and the meals are completely edible. The trend has spread across the world and into 12-year-old Sarah Tan's kitchen in Singapore.
It started out actually not too long ago in January. I was thinking, I love mini stuff and I love cooking. Is there some way to combine that? So I started looking on YouTube and there's so many different videos. And the one that really got me hooked on, it was an ASMR video. It was someone frying mini prawns and it sounds so satisfying. I was like, I want to do that. Let's get started.
Her first experiment involved omelets. Simple enough, but not when the omelet is the size of your fingernail and you're using a toothpick.
It's difficult because sometimes when let's say you're using a toothpick, you could slide down the toothpick and then you could burn yourself because it actually does get very hot over a candle. Or if you're not careful, which is what happened to me, I have a missing patch of hair on my arm because I wasn't careful and I cinched it all off.
I saw her cooking, with all these make-do equipment that she has kind of figured out to use, because one day I saw her with a teaspoon and a toothpick over a tea light candle. I was wondering what she was, because I could smell burning.
Her parents also wondered how far she could go with the hobby. They are her biggest supporters.
She started really young, at about 3 years, and then she just went from there, but the food size went smaller, progressively smaller. And but it got tastier. It's unique. It's something different, not the norm. And we try to support her by looking for miniature cookware, utensils. It's not that easy to find.
On the menu today, a tiny pot of chicken vegetable stew. Enough to feed, well, no one really, but that doesn't matter. Meantime, across the city, these ladies are doing some tiny tinkering of their own. Diminutive donuts are on the menu. These, though, are not edible. Jocelyn Teo's main ingredient is polymer clay.
At the start, I was quite surprised that people actually wanted to learn miniature food crafting because I thought it was really niche. And then I realized that people who were coming were actually people who had regular office jobs. So it turned out that it was actually something like a break for them, especially from the computer. Yeah, so it was like a way to go back to the natural sense of like creating with your hands.
Of her nearly 71,000 Instagram followers, it's Jewel and Faith who get a private class with the Queen of Clay.
Desserts always make you really happy, like just looking at it and you're like, I want to eat it. But like making the mini stuff and then it's like, although you can't eat it, but you can stare at it anyway. So it's like, it gives you the same amount of happiness, I guess.
So the reason why we don't wash our hands with water and then dry it off is because after you dry, then you get all the fibers incorporated into your clay again. There are some men who actually attend my classes and they actually also commission items from me. So most of them are actually here sometimes to accompany their girlfriends or their partners, and some of them are here by themselves to actually create items for let's say a loved one's birthday. Yeah, and then I've also got this really interesting request by this guy. So he actually asked me to create a 1.5 carat ring. So it was like a fake carat like diamond, but then it was actually a carrot instead of vegetable carrot.
These pieces are labors of love and patience.
It feels really good. So especially after you have slaved for a few hours or maybe a few days even, creating an item, and then when you finally post it online and then you see all the compliments coming in, and it's actually something that really touches, I think, all artists and creators inside, because it's like, oh, someone actually appreciates what I'm doing.
Meantime, back in the kitchen, Sarah's stew is finished and ready to serve.
And you were going to make us fried rice, but that takes a lot of time.
Yes, it does. The preparation included with making everything, it takes quite a bit of time because you have to get the rice at the right temperature, at the right phase, at the right time to make sure that you don't burn anything, or it's too dry, or it's too moist.
You've made us chicken tomato stew. Is it more difficult to make those types of dishes, or are desserts easier? Is baking a bit tougher at this scale?
I find baking is a little bit more difficult because in baking, when you're making your sweets, you have to make sure everything's the precise temperature. You want it to be this, you want that to be perfect, you want it to be this certain temperature, you want this to be at a certain phase. Whereas cooking, sure, sometimes that is involved depending on the extremity or how difficult it is, but usually you can just throw it all together.
And she's put together a lovely little cake. Time to put the finishing touches on it.
I've never made a cake this
So
small
first,
before.
you want to flip the 2 layers off. Next, take your icing bag, make sure it's rolled down. And you want to squeeze so it doesn't come out a lot. You just want a thin strip of icing all the way around the bottom.
That was so much fun. I think we should start eating these little cakes with some little cups of tea. How's
Sounds
that?
good to me.
Okay.
Would you like me to slice your cake?
That would be great. Can you slice it?
Cheers.
Equal parts craft and cookery, it's clear that when it comes to passion, one size doesn't fit all.